Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. What you want to talk about? Kitchen talk, conversations that cook. Kitchen talk, Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends.
Lisa, Lopre, JT, and friends. Y'all ready to pick up some conversation? Come on.
Kitchen talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. What's happening, people?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you, young, beautiful ladies, doing this evening?
We
Good,
doing all
good.
right. How you?
All right. I'm working on greater, as you know.
As usual. As usual. So listen, this is Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
Yes, they do. And I'm so excited. We have friends, you remember my Auntie V.
Yes, I do. Listen, I'm already tax ready. I got the call my tax lady.
You already ready?
Man, I've been ready. They got to get ready for next year.
Yes.
Right? So I'm already like, okay, what do I need to do to start? Because I had a time this year, but I will be ready for next year. Yep.
Well, good for you. They get me ready. So I'm like, here it is.
Take care of it. Take care of it.
I'm like, Auntie V, I don't know. Here it is.
And that's the easy way. You got a mama who know how to do it. So
Right.
Right.
Right, exactly. Mama worked it up. She was like, you gonna give me? Yes, ma'am. Here it is. Here it is right here. This all of it.
Yeah.
Because I stay on her, so she had to stay on y'all.
She does. They all do. Make sure we right. And all the way together. And so far, thank God I ain't had to give Uncle Sam no more money.
It's a blessing.
Good. That's a blessing.
Yes.
Ain't had to give him no more money. Listen, we got a full conversation tonight. Like, we got like several pots going tonight. All right. So we're gonna dig in. So the first pot we're gonna dig in. Okay, so here are the pots, right? Let me just tell y'all what the pots are. So you know how you have courses to meals, right?
Right.
You don't just sit down most of the time. Hey there, Mr. Bruce.
Bruce, my man.
Most of the time, you don't just sit down and just eat the main course, right?
Right.
So you have a dinner and you have different, you got your salad, you got your soup, you got an appetizer, you got all of that. You eat your meal, then you have dessert and maybe wine or whatever.
Right.
So that's what we doing tonight.
Well, what's the appetizer?
All right. So for the appetizer tonight, we're going to talk about the child tax credits that's coming up. Or they just, Auntie V gonna lay it out for us.
What you got?
And then our main course is we're gonna do versus the kitchen talk way, right?
Okay,
so it won't be no music. won't be no Teddy Riley.
Right. Oh Lord. Baby face.
We are gonna talk about Juneteenth or 4th of July.
Yeah.
Which one you doing? And I'm so scared because I don't know what France is gonna say. I just don't know.
I've been waiting for this one.
And then for desserts, I have a special announcement. So that's where we at. That's where we at. That's what we doing. So
I'm surprised. I thought why don't we add a little wine to there with Bill Cosby?
You know.
Oh, that's another kitchen talk. That's another kitchen talk.
But you
I
know
think
what?
that's gonna show up in the conversation, though.
Right. It's so much to unpack because there's also the critical race theory. Okay. Yeah. That part.
Let's do the appetizer.
Okay. See, French, you're trying to get me off topic.
I'm here.
You're trying to get me off topic. You're trying to get me off topic. That's what you do. And then when we run over time, you like, it's Lisa's fault. It is not my fault. It is Friend's fault. So Auntie V emailed me and then called and was like, you know what? We need to talk about this. People need to know. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Come on Thursday. So it is the child. Go ahead, Auntie V. Take it away.
It's the child tax credit. So the email you got, Lisa, is something that if somebody really wanted additional information, you can send that out.
Okay.
That came from one of the IRS affiliates who actually sends us information and tell us what should and should not happen. So when we got it, the topic was you should opt out is the topic of that. And what that really means is that, so let me try to unpack the child tax credit for you easier.
Okay.
People that have dependent children on a tax return is entitled to receive child tax credit. Okay. That is one of the credits that helps them get the large refunds. Right? So our past president administration gave stimulus and stuff like that because that is what people asked for. They didn't ask for it in that manner, but that's how they got it. So as the new administration came along, they still wanted what they called relief. So his way to relief was through child tax credit. He didn't just really create that. They asked for this kind of relief. Okay. So on a tax return, a child tax credit is a value of $2,000 per dependent child that qualifies. Okay. What he did was increased it to $3,000 per dependent child that qualifies for next year's tax return only. So what the child tax credit is going to do is give you an advance against your next year's tax return that when you file next year, you will pay back every dime you receive out of that given refund, which is why it needs to be a conversation. Everybody around here saying this 300, at first the misconception was they were going to get $3,000. Well, that's not true, because if $2,000 is already on your 2020 taxes and he's going to add $1,000 for 2021 taxes, that's where your $3,000 come from. That still has to be broken down in the tax return. So now, if you have a dependent 6 years old or 16 or 17, you are entitled to receive $300 a month for 6 months, which is equal up to about $1,800. When you file your taxes, the first thing gonna come out of your refund is your $1,800. Okay. People don't understand that it's not a gift. It's not a stimulus. It's not a given. It's a loan against the next year's tax return.
Wow.
So how is that? I mean, how are you helping if it's a loan?
You're not helping by making a loan. Now, here's the positive, and I don't have but one or two on this, to be honest. But here's your positive. He's giving you the option to opt out.
Yeah.
That's your number one positive. If you think back, every stimulus and everything we have been given, we did not have the option to opt out. Now you actually have the option to opt out. So you can say, hey, Mr. Government, I don't want your $300. I'm going to wait and get all my money, as Due said, in my tax return, like I've always done all these years. He's not forcing you to take it.
Right.
He's giving you a choice.
Gotcha.
So when the Republicans and all these people say, this is how we're going to help, he then says, we just can't force him to take this. We're going to give him a choice to say yes or no. The portal is open for the opting out. Okay. Now, here's the other positive to this. Everybody that is eligible to receive this money already got a letter from the government telling you your choices. So when people say I didn't know, tell them I say they a lie.
Right. Because they got a letter. They got a letter.
They got a letter that explains the child tax credit. It explains the advance. It explains the payback. And it explains how you're going to get it. And it also gives you the web address to opt out.
Gotcha.
So they got all the choices. But they're not going to do that. They're going to take this money and be mad with their tax preparer next year. So don't call here mad, because the conversation ain't going to be nice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you helping by providing some type of relief, but I'm going to get the pain back again later on next year. So yeah, you gave me something, but then when next year rolls around, I got to pay that back.
But I'm also giving you the option not to take it. I'm giving you the option to say, hey, Mr. Government, I don't want your $2 right now.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to go ahead and do my opt out, and the portal is open to opt out. So it is open. It's open early enough for people to do it. And people are saying, oh, I'm having problems with the site. No, I've sat here and watched people do it. But then 5 minutes, the whole thing is done.
Got it. So it's not a long process.
It's not a long process. Now it is a detailed process, and I do respect the government this time for that. So I would have to say only a couple. This would be my third one, and that's it.
Yeah.
They are forcing you to identify yourself. They are cutting the red tape when people are gonna say, I didn't get it, I did not. You got to send a selfie of yourself. You got to do the front and back copy of your driver's license. All of these things are so, because identity theft is so big right now.
Right now it is. Yeah.
If I decide to go out there and take it on one of y'all kids, hey, I got to prove it's me. Well, really, I got to prove it's you. And if none of this matches, they're not going to get the money. Now, here's another side to that. If there is a married filing joint tax return, both taxpayers must opt out. If one opt out and the other don't, the money is going to go to the next person.
Oh, wow.
So husband and wife must opt out. So they give, and then that's.
It still takes away, like, how are you helping? Because yes, I can opt out and say, no, I want to take it and keep it my same way, but I don't get it.
So the help, I think, friends, is the fact that you can get some of it now instead of waiting. And so it's in the wording. Ask for. It's an advance. It's an advance.
They ask for that, though. They ask for the help.
Right.
Okay.
So that's how they're considering or saying that they're helping, is that I'm giving it to you early because you need it right now.
Right.
Now,
and the other side to that,
you plan well and do what you're supposed to do, then you'll probably be all right. But if you don't, you get it, and then you in the same space when tax time, return time come, then you in trouble again.
Well, Lisa, you got a good point. If you plan well, I like that. Right there. So let's go back to if you plan well, friends. I'm gonna hit that one a little bit right here. Let's go with if you plan well. You ready?
Yes, ma'am.
My theory is this: if you got a stimulus of $1,200, you got a stimulus of $500 for every child. Prior to tax time, you had a couple of dollars, right? Now, you also got a full tax return. Because we think about it, we're only talking about people with dependent children. So they're getting money back when the rest of us is not. Okay. Now you got a $6, $7, $8, $9, $10, $11, $12,000 tax refund. And guess what? I turned around and gave you $1,400 per person on the tax return after you got that $10,000. If you plan right, you don't need this $300 because you got some money. Think about it. Because your stimulus for the 14 time whatever was just as large as that refund.
Right.
I have seen people that have already gotten $20,000 to $25,000 and it's still looking for this $300.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, and I try to stay out of people's pockets because they may have other things that's going on that they got to pay off, whatever. But when you say you're trying to help, the advance really it provides to me, in my eyes, it provides support, but it doesn't really help in terms of the current. Like, I know I got to pay it back instead of a grant, which is going to help, and I don't have to pay it back. Does that make sense?
We got 3 grants. Yes, that makes perfectly good sense. We got 3 grants. We got stimulus, and stimulus. We got 3 grants.
We did.
We did.
What grants do we want? Are you going to continue to just give me? No.
They not.
Because the truth of it is that this should have never been on the table.
Right.
But because this is what the politicians pushed, this is what had to happen. So we got to accept what was given.
So is that so they don't have to pay out as much at income tax time? That's why they're trying to give it to you now?
That is true. They won't have to pay out as much, and if there's interest has to be paid, they won't have to pay out as much of that. So it's a saving for the government now. Because if I give it to you now and you pay it back to me, we're not issuing you that much out. So yes, we're going to save all those billions that we already got set aside to pay you. We're saving that money, of course, because now we're not giving it out. But if you wait, we got to give it all to you. And if we late, we got to give it to you with interest. So of course we're losing that way, says government. But if you take it, not smart person, if you take it, we're going to save all of that, including the interest, of course. Yeah, not a lot of payback to it. But there are a lot of downsides to it when the thing came out and said not to take it and to opt out. Let's say, for example, you have a 17-year-old child this year that is going to be 18 next year, and you got the advance for that child. Now, come next year, when that child turns 18 and do not go to college, he is of no benefit to you on the tax return. You get $0.00. But guess what? You're paying that money back.
Oh, wow.
Even though he's not there. Even if the child is not on the return, you are going to pay the money back. Which is the main reason you should opt out.
Yeah.
This is
but see, I think a lot of people are going to get in trouble because they're going to take it not knowing that they have to pay it back and be in a position where they can't pay it back. Because let's be real.
Then they're going to owe the government money, friends. That's it.
But it'd be the people who don't have it, who needs the support, that's going to get it, not understanding the process. They take it, and I will be honest too. There may be some people who do understand the process, right?
They do understand the process.
Fall short of, okay, I got it, but now it's time for me to pay it back. I can't pay it back because I was talking to a friend just this week. A lot of us, no matter where you stand right now, you 1, 2, 3 paychecks away from I'm in trouble, right?
That's true.
So, and we saw that during the last recession. You know, people who's making $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 a year, that 1 month went out.
Everything went up.
All out.
Yeah.
So imagine, the person is doing the day-to-day. So I think we definitely need that information to go out so people make the best decision.
Right. Now, they do need to be educated. Now, this is one thing I have seen a lot of the news and all of that. And the news for one time in history is finally telling it the truth. They are telling you it's an advance. So if you listen to the radio station, everybody that I've heard is truly telling you it is an advance. This is the first time when anything came out that the media has been honest. So they're not throwing a wool over your face this time. They're truly telling you it's an advance. Now, you know it's an advance, and you're going to lie and say you didn't when it's time to file your taxes.
Right.
I have seen people, because I'm in the industry and I see about 400 people a year. Okay. Well, I have people calling right now for when I'm going to get my money. Call the IRS and ask them when you're going to get your money. I don't control your money.
Right.
I don't control that money. And like I told them, you just got a total of 20 grand in less than 3 months. Are you trying to tell me you broke?
Yeah. Yeah.
Then when you say yes, you know what I ask next? Did you buy a house? Did you put down on a home? Did you? No, none of that. Well, what you did with the money? 8 crabs? See, if you didn't put down on something beneficial, if you didn't put down something for your future or for your kids' future in a college fund or something, what did you do with $20,000 in 3 months?
Yeah.
You didn't buy a new car, which you didn't need one anyway. You needed a house before you needed a car.
Right.
You need to stop paying the rent and buy this house, because that kind of money, you're already working, you're making money. You could afford this house payment.
Well, you know what? You got to look at it in this way too. You have people who are probably in debt using credit cards. They finally get this $20,000.
That's if they paid it off. If they paid it off, that's good.
Yeah, if they paid it off, it's good. But then you run back into debt because you still.
Are they going to use those credit cards by December back up to the max?
Exactly.
What's the point? You might as well let the credit card debt go and go buy the house.
Yeah.
Well, you probably
there's no
can't
point
get
to
the
that.
house because
So
you got the
the situations. Hey, somebody gonna give you that house bad as it is right now. You gonna get that house. If you got this $2, they gonna give you this house. They gonna give you something. You gonna get this stuff. But the real question to people that I keep asking is, are you truly thinking this through clearly?
Right.
Yes.
And they are not.
Yes.
Because I talk to them every day. They are not. They are not thinking it through clearly.
They think it's just money that they're going to get right now.
And it's not. But you're going to find more people that's going to owe the government money next year because of this same thing.
Yep.
It's going to put them in a different bind.
Wow.
Yep.
And you'd rather not buy Christmas than to owe the government. I'm telling you, it's just one of those debts that is hard for you to get out of.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Unless you have money in savings to pay these people, you're going to get late filing, failure to file, interest and penalties every month, compounded daily, which is how they compound.
And you know what? I don't like that. And I know that's the process. But again, you're supposed to be helping the people, not hurting them. Okay,
but
I could see a fee, but the fees, Ms. V, is like
they are.
You are
now
you worse than the sharks. You worse than the loan sharks.
They absolutely are. They absolutely are. On one hand, they are. But on this hand right here, call them and make a deal with them. Yeah. Because this is the part that people don't understand. Yes, you have this debt, but they have programs internally. Fresh Start Initiative. If you owe over $10,000, get on the Fresh Start Initiative program.
Right.
They have internal programs that will actually assist you in reducing the debt. They have offering compromise. They have a lot of internal programs. And all you got to do is take your hour, get on the phone. I need help with such and such and such. And they do the application for you on the phone. They ask you for the documents they want. You got a choice. But what most people do is duck and dodge the IRS. That's the worst thing to do. Don't duck and dodge them.
Yeah.
You already know you owe them.
Pay them.
Get on a program. Yeah, but get on the plan. But even if it ain't a payment plan, get on one of those programs that's going to help cut that debt you have in half, and you're never going to pay the whole debt. Or find out from them what program you qualify for, because they have them. I've done it where I have a client who owed about 80 grand, never paid a dime. What it is that when you call to work on a program, they ask you certain questions. And if you listen to them well enough, and this is how I beat this case. The lady says, what dependents? I say he has a child, a disabled child. She says, do the child pay more than at least 8% of the household bills? I say, well, yeah, of course. Say, how do the child pay bills? I say, he gets Social Security, he gets Social Security disability. She said, okay, he qualified for hardship. Now he made $80,000 a year. He drove a Lexus. It had nothing to do with what the questions they asked and how I asked them. Nobody said it was a young child, a boy was 38 years old. They didn't ask me that.
Right.
I didn't reveal the man's age because they didn't ask me the kid's age. They said, do he have a child? Well, this is his biological child.
But it is. And nowadays you have kids still living in the mama's house because they can't get the house, like we were just saying earlier.
As long as I was able to prove that he get mail at the same address as the dad,
right,
he qualified for what they call hardship. Those programs are out there. He never paid the 80 grand. You know what he had to do? He had to follow a set of rules. Every year you have to file your taxes on time.
Right.
If you owe debt, you have to pay the debt. and we put you on hardship, and we'll never collect and take from your payroll, your bank account, none of the above. But every year we're going to take the little income tax you get. And now it rolls off like bad debt. They have what is called a CSET date. A CSET date means that it's just like bad credit card debt. In a 10-year span, it rolls off like bad credit card debt. You get out of it. You just got to know how to beat the system.
Right.
Yeah, it works. But this case, it's going to go next year. These people, these kids, got to be mindful.
The thing is, everybody don't got you in their corner.
They better find a me.
You know what I mean?
Friends, they better find a me.
Who they calling? Lisa, go ahead and put Miss B's info on the screen for the people.
They better call Auntie B. Call Auntie B.
Listen, because that's the problem. We don't know, right? And a lot of this becomes very daunting and very scary, but it shouldn't be, right? Because we have people who are professionals who do this for a living, who should be able to take care of this. Mind you, as I stated earlier, the government should be doing its best to ensure that the people that it serves are also, in place to make either make the payments, or, you know what, I understand you're going through hardships, we're going to waive that. Right?
Yeah, but friends, when have we ever had government or politicians or lawmakers that actually look after the interests of the people? Like, name two. That part.
You can. Yeah. You can.
I can. I can almost name one, but even then.
Must have been my president. Was it my president?
It's your president.
He tried. But I mean, you got folks that they don't care about
against him very hard.
Defeat him. We gonna make sure he don't have no good term. Wait a minute. All of these people are looking at y'all to help us, and y'all not worried about us. Y'all just worry about defeating one person.
Listen, that Mitch McConnell.
That's what made it hard for him.
Yeah,
very good. Did a lot of stuff behind the scenes, but nobody really never knows it because he didn't have the opportunity to really show it. Right. But he still did a lot of stuff behind the scenes that. Right. If you read his memoirs and stuff, you'll really be surprised on a lot of stuff that really happened.
And I'm not. I mean, Obamacare was not what it is today, what they originally intended it to be. And it should be free healthcare for all, right? So that's going to take me into my Juneteenth versus.
I was just about to say that. This is a good place to segue into. Listen, okay, so I'm not a historian, but I pull this a little bit up. So Juneteenth is June 19th, 1865, when the Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Texas, Galveston, Texas, and told the enslaved people that they were free, right?
Right.
Okay. But talking about our government and how they don't look out for us, right? So Juneteenth, 1865 was 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that was supposed to free all the slaves, right?
Yeah.
And even then, 5 months later was the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery. But talk about our government. Here we are years and years later, after all of this is done, you still got people enslaved and they don't get free until 2.5 years later.
Mm-hmm.
So when we talk about our government and how they look out for us, they do not.
Right.
They do not. So the theories are, so here are some theories that I found. So one is a messenger was murdered on his way to Texas to deliver the news.
I could see that.
Me too.
Yeah.
And probably I ain't gonna say it because we know the government assassinated the whole. But okay, there's a whole nother. Yeah, I know.
Digress.
That part.
Okay, so then the other theory is the news was deliberately withheld from by enslavers to maintain their labor force on the plantation.
I can see that.
And then federal troops waited for the enslavers to reap the reward of one last cotton harvest. Talk about our
I can
government
see that.
looking out for the people.
I can see it.
Ain't that something? Ain't that something?
It is, but it's not, because fast forward, we are part of that government. We're a part of that process now. At that time, we were not. We had no way of voicing our concerns.
True.
Now we do, and we have
Well,
to.
we did voice our concerns.
Well, we were fought in the fight, and that's going to be my next part of this piece, which is that's why I celebrate both the 4th of July and Juneteenth, because we were a part of the process. You cannot take us out of it. Without Black people, you would not have the 4th of July. Without Black people, you would not have Juneteenth.
Right.
So they go hand in hand, and we have to celebrate both, because then they try to erase you from the history books, right?
They doing that anyway, France.
They do,
but not erase us from the history books. We are in the history books.
Well, I agree, and that's part of the erase. They've done it in towns. I was just listening to a doc today where they literally, if they didn't burn the town down, they put the town underwater. The whole town is underwater, so you don't even know that the town exists, right? New York City. What's that? What's the park called? Central Park.
Mm-hmm.
Whole community of Black folks. They took it over and said, "This is our stuff now." So there's a way to erase that, but it's up to us to continue to celebrate and to remind and to, again, write our own history and remind folks of what we have done and what we can do.
Right.
So that's the process now. Now that we know that's the shadiness that has happened, and that we have to really depend on ourselves. We have to be a part of the system to change the system, right? We have to bring people in place. The thing is, go vote, but who you gonna vote for? So we need the right people to vote for, so that when they go in, they do what we're talking about now. Free healthcare for all should be in place. Education for all should be in place. Man, I could go down the line.
Right.
Haven't even gone to the 40 acres in the mule.
Right.
That document is still on the list. Talk about
what are you celebrating? Are you celebrating Juneteenth, or you celebrating?
I would have to agree with friends. I would have to do both, because we are the process of both. We started here, we're going there. But unless you celebrate both of them, they are going to think one is less important than the other.
Correct.
You have to give both its own time and space, so neither one of them will be forgotten or just equally erased, saying, "Oh, you don't celebrate that no more. We don't need that anymore." You got to keep both of them on the totem pole. You cannot let either one of them go, because if you do, you're going to lose one of them over time, because they're going to think there's not any importance to it anymore, because you have gone to this and not this anymore. But if you do a little of both, they're both going to stay on the plate.
And I will also say you have to tell the truth about both, right? It's fine now they're hearing the truth about Juneteenth. They still have to know the truth about the 4th of July, that there were more than just Caucasian people fighting for the country, fighting for what we are celebrating today, right? A lot of people lost their lives, Black, white, well, you name it, to ensure that we have what we have today. But I think one of the things that we miss out on as a country is that America is always developing, but a lot of people still hold on to the past. And the forefathers, quote unquote forefathers, that was their push to get
in. Which ones? The ones that came over here and stole some land from people? That was them? That's what you're talking about? Oh, okay, go ahead.
Their process was forward thinking, right? It's not backwards thinking. We moving forward. We're gonna come from somewhere else and take our stuff. I mean, we as a people have to do the same. We have to think forward.
Really? How do you say that is forward thinking? I understand that they for whatever reason want to separate and da da da. I get that, but you came over here and oppressed people and killed people because you didn't want to be oppressed anymore, but you came and did the same thing.
I didn't say the way they did it was right. What I said was they have forward thinking. So you're 100% right. I mean, the process was doing what they were trying to get away from, right? Even today, we still deal with that, right? We're not getting represented the way you need to be represented.
We are not. Our government does not represent us well.
Puerto Rico right now is part of the union, but they don't have no real representatives, right? So let's be real with the situation and let's say, hey, let's make America greater. Right? I think there's so much more that we can do, but it all starts back with us. We have to be a part of that process. And to eliminate the 4th of July from the narrative would be, again, eliminating us from that process. And a lot of times I see that, like, we're going to take away what you've done because you want to take away everything. So we can't throw away the bathwater with the baby. We got to be very selective and very strategic in saying, okay, this is what has happened. I think more than anything, we have to tell the truth.
Right. So do you feel like, okay, I am an American, so I celebrate the 4th of July, but I'm also African American, so I can celebrate Juneteenth. So you saying we need to celebrate both of them, even though the Independence Day had nothing. It really didn't have anything to do with us. The 4th of July.
No, it did.
We were no. I know we were here. I know we participated in the process, but it really wasn't about us. We were still the oppressed people.
I agree. But going back to Juneteenth, right? It's not about Black Americans celebrating Juneteenth. It should be Americans celebrating Juneteenth. Because America had taken a major step
to fix a wrong.
To fix a wrong. And America should take that step, even though America is still trying to get it right, to make the right steps. But again, at that time,
are they trying to get it right, France?
I do think that there is a lot of people who are starting to see the light. Now, there's still a whole lot more who are
never going to see the light. Never going to see the light.
It's gonna take the Lord Himself because they've been so it's like so dogmatic within their thought process that they can't see something different. But there are people who have been able to transcend their thoughts and say, you know what, I know that was wrong. And this past summer showed that, right? You had kids who were telling their parents, "You wrong."
Yeah.
You are wrong.
Yeah, we saw that with the siege on the White House. How even the
kids
were turning in the parents saying, "Nope, there's a video of you such and so." So that is
So my question to the two of you: can those be counted as steps? Because we're saying we're taking steps. Those are steps. We got to get them how we could get them.
I agree. I count those.
And a lot of steps were taken, and I do agree with friends. A lot of steps were taken in a lot of different capacities.
Yep.
Especially during this COVID, and look how many diverse groups of people are out there with these peaceful protests and all of that. We never had that. That was a real steps. We never had that type of support.
Yes.
In anything we have had, any problems that we have had, any consequences. But now we have support. Those are real steps to me. I mean, they're a little bit at a time, but take them how we can get them and let's grow on them.
I mean, listen, we would not be where we are without support from others. The Underground Railroad was not just us, right?
Right.
There were people who believed in our process, believed that we should work together, we should be free,
right.
we should. There are people who are still pushing the agenda that, you know, slavery is wrong.
Yeah.
Jim Crow is wrong, right? All of that is still being seen. And I agree that this past summer, more people have seen the light, and not just the average or regular folks, but now corporations,
Right.
Yeah.
are seeing that as well and say, hey, we got to make a change. We haven't seen that, right? For law firms and for big corporations to say, okay, we need to make this a part of our agenda. We need
Yeah.
to really find some solutions to this problem.
Yeah.
Even if the government is not doing it, right? Like they did in Atlanta with Delta. Delta was like, we're not gonna follow you, Mr. Governor, because what you're doing is wrong. So we're gonna stand true to the right thing to do. We got too many people, and I'm not just saying black people. We have too many people that are working for us that believe in this process.
Yeah.
So if you know, I could go on. I'm just.
So do we think so? We know that it is now declared a federal holiday. Juneteenth is now declared a federal holiday. Are we, because I always feel, and I say this often, that America, until they make a true atonement for the wrong that was done, it's going to be even more harder for us to get to a place of peace, a place of unity, and that sort of thing. So you have so many history books and different kind of books and narratives that really don't mention slavery, or they skip over it, or blacks were indentured servants. Indentured servants were actually paid, but they had to pay off a debt. You know, it just was not true.
Yeah.
And so my question is, are we one step closer with the acknowledgement of Juneteenth being a federal holiday? Are we one step closer to America saying we did this wrong and this is how it got corrected? Or is it just something so the black folks will be pacified and we'll be like, oh, okay, well, they're acknowledging the holiday, but we can't get an anti-lynching law?
I think we could see both sides of that. I think we're on the street. I think we're on the street. I don't think it's a true pacification anymore. Back before, I would have said yes to that. I think because there are real people that's not black that real have concern, acknowledgement, have spoken out and said how wrong. I didn't understand it before. Now I have seen the light, or researched, or been told, or whatever happened. So I think we're on the street. It still may be miles down the road, but I think we're finally on the street for different people to see a difference and have a different understanding.
I agree with you. I think we are, at least the conversation is being had.
Yes, and that's the good part.
It is, but we have to be a part of the vigilance. We can't let it sleep. So yes, we're celebrating, but we're also pushing for those 40 acres and that mule. Listen, just because we celebrating, and I think it makes it easier because you acknowledge it. You acknowledge that it's a wrong. So now that we're celebrating, we also have to bring that cake, that ice cream, and that those ribs to the table. You got to pay it back. You got to figure out what you need to do to say, you know what, we messed up. You did it for every other group. You did it for Pearl Harbor. You did it for Asian folks. You did it for Indian folks. You got to do it for the people who really helped build this country.
Not helped.
Really build the country. I agree with you.
Built the country. So I guess my thing is, yes, I'm happy. Okay, yes, it's a federal holiday. I get all of that, but it was so much more on the list. Yeah. Making Juneteenth a federal holiday was not on the list. So how did you come out with that? That we're gonna make Juneteenth a federal holiday when we're asking for legislation where black men are not killed, unarmed black men are not killed by police. When we're asking for reform to where a child playing with a toy gun or whatever he was playing with isn't rolled up on in less than 30 seconds and kills, talking about he looked like a grown man. Come on.
Right.
Did a federal holiday?
Yeah.
That wasn't on the list. I could still continue to celebrate 4th of July and have my day off, because that's all I'm gonna do is have my day off. I'm not, I'm not going to
now you got 2 days off.
Not going to no national cemetery.
Rand, stop acting like that. Now you got 2 days off. You got Juneteenth and 4th of July.
There you go. There you go.
Now you got
Listen,
2 days.
we take what we can take, but
But
again, like I said, you're right. You are 100% right. But it's a first start. I agree, and I think that all of the stuff we had on the list was on the list before they even started with this piece.
Absolutely.
But it comes back down to, again, us voting for the right people and moving out these people who are still holding office like it's 1918.
And so Lisa, I got a question then.
Okay.
To your point there. All right. So understanding that the police is killing the Black young man and all of these people and doing all of that, I'm kind of torn on two sides, not too clear on either. And this is why. I finally feel like they're finally prosecuting police that they had, in my opinion, they just never had done before.
Right.
Okay. So you're now getting some undue justice by the police now finally being prosecuted for killing these people that they should not be killing.
Mm-hmm.
All the years prior to, we didn't have that. They were just killing them, going home and sleeping and going to kill somebody else.
I agree.
Now they're killing and getting to go to jail and deal with these people, friends that they done killed.
Right.
So now they're getting a punishment on that side too. My thoughts on the other side of the fence is that the people that's doing it, the police officers that's doing the killing and all that, most of them was already racist. They just wore a blue suit.
Yeah.
It's nothing. We can't pick people out of the crowd and determine who is and who's not going to do it. Those people doing it was already people that was going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we prosecute those people, we at least can get some of those police out of the job of killing, because now they're going to jail. But then again, if they're going to replace themselves with somebody else.
Correct. And that's what I was going to say. It's hard to do that because I think one of the things that we have to do is put legislation in place, because we can't control people, but we can put things in place, mechanisms in place to say, hey, if you do this, this is the consequence. You lose your pension, no retirement, no college money. I could guarantee you,
and you're not allowed to go nowhere else and get a job as a police officer.
That part right there.
So legislator does need to be put in place, yes. But at the same time, we're getting a little bit on this side. Now, is that considered pacification? Are you pacifying us by doing that?
I think that is part of the pacification.
I do too. I think Chauvin being convicted, it was almost no way around that. Had they really found him not guilty and justified in what he did, I think it would be civil world war.
It would. And they know that.
It was no way around that. Now, do I feel like it's a message being sent? Honestly, I don't yet.
No,
again,
I don't get it. It's not, and that's why I asked both sides. It's not a message being sent yet, in my opinion. I think you're giving us a little bit here. That's the pacifying side.
Correct.
Yeah.
But you're still not giving the legislation you need to put in place to if this legislation and what drops out of it is wrong, that there's no cut and dry, there's no deviation. It is a legislation, it is what's going to happen. That's the side we truly need. So in this case, I still think we're being pacified by them going to jail and all of that. I do. Because we need the top part. We need what's really going to hold them.
Yeah.
Correct. Until you put things in place, like, okay, so they put the anti-Asian piece in place where you do this to an Asian person, you have consequences. Black folks been catching hell for so long, but we don't need just.
And how did you do that so fast? Well, but you still can't pass an anti-lynching law.
And I think that the president should have pushed that for sure. But then there should also be a law, not just an executive order by the president, because another president could come in and take that out. We need a law in place for all of the hell that Black folks have been catching. That's why I said earlier, Ms. B, yeah, are you really helping? $3,000, $20,000, that's a drop in the bucket, to be honest with you. The money that they gave out to help during COVID, come on now. That's a drop in the bucket. The money that's owed to Black communities, Black and brown communities. Let's be real. Let's start saying, how can we help each other to make this a better place? There's no reason why certain communities should be drinking brown water. There's no reason why the bridges should be falling apart in this country. There's no reason why people should be living in subpar.
Oh my goodness.
I'm talking about and this is not just Black people.
And did anybody go to jail for Flint yet?
They should have.
They need to go to jail for attempted murder or something.
So
we got to do better.
I got a question for you, Friends. I got a question for you on that.
Yes, ma'am.
So, when it comes down to what you just said about all of the things that should have been done.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think that Caucasian people complain to the congressmen, the legislative people more than people of color do, and it's why things happen differently for them, like in the Asian people? Do you think that is one of the reasons why? No.
The main reason I believe that things happen that way is all economics.
Okay.
You gotta look at the bigger picture. One of the main reasons they push the anti-Asian law is because of what's happening in Asia, right? So we gotta protect these people because these people are close to us. And to be honest with you, some of them don't like Black folks either because of the rhetoric that we've been feeding them. Mm-hmm. Right? So you got to look at the bigger picture, and it always comes down to economics. So at the end of the day, I think as a people, we need to stop saying, Mr. Sandman, we need your help. We need to start saying, brothers, let's help each other and be our own gatekeepers. Because if that happens, they'll be coming to you to figure out how they can get in.
Right.
Right? When you don't have the dollars in place, what can you offer me? But we do have it. We've been spending it, like we just said, unresponsible. We do whatever. Yeah. We feed in your pockets.
Yeah.
And the worst part about that is you still treat us the way you treat us.
And we still allow you to.
And correct. So at this point, we should start saying, okay, enough is enough. Let's pull our stuff together and trust. Now you'll have people coming to you to say, how can we help? Just like they did this summer. How can we help? We know y'all buying all of this stuff. And if y'all don't buy it, who's gonna buy it? If y'all don't set the trends, because we set all trends.
We do.
Going to buy it. So if we don't, then they don't. Right? So again, we have to write and start pushing our own narratives, building our own infrastructure. And at that point, now you at the table. Because I don't need you anymore. I think America thinks that Black America still needs America. Mm-hmm. And that's not the case. And that's why I'm going to celebrate both, because I think people have to understand that America is Black America. There's no difference.
It would not be in America.
If you take Black America out, you have no America. There's no way.
There is this skit, and I'm gonna I gotta find it and pull it out. It's a small play, but it talked about a day without Black people. You could not do anything. You couldn't use the elevator. No. You could not.
You can't drive your car.
You couldn't drive. You can't drive your car. You can't sweep. It was just so much in this thing. Just about the inventions.
Correct.
That came from Black people.
Yeah.
Just about the inventions that came from Black people. And so what continues to boggle my mind is, why is America, and I'm not saying all America, I'm intelligent, But why are we so hateful and fearful of Black people? That just continues to get me. It just continues to get me all the time. I know that wasn't our topic for today, but
No, but it
okay,
is our topic.
but
It is our topic. That's
so
why
if
we're
I'm
celebrating.
celebrating, right? If I'm celebrating, sometimes you feel like sometimes I feel like, you know what? I don't want to celebrate 4th of July. That's the white holiday. Because now I'm not saying that
Yeah.
that it is. I'm just saying that's how we, we feel about it because we've been so America has had its knee on our neck, as Al Sharpton said when he preached George Floyd's funeral for so long that I want to do everything black, all black, everything. So I'm gonna celebrate Juneteenth, and I'm gonna watch all black TV, and I'm and
But you
I'm
know,
gonna make sure my car black.
and I'm wearing only black t-shirts, right?
Right.
But that's the whole piece why Juneteenth is important.
Yeah.
We gotta recognize black people, and that's why these legislations are important. We gotta recognize what they have done and what they continue to do.
Right.
What we continue to do every day. You know, Black America has raised America.
Right.
So you got to recognize it. The 4th of July is still our day. We still celebrate that. That is, without us, there is no 4th of July. There's no 4th of July. So we got to celebrate that, and we got to be recognized on our own day, just like Mother's Day and Father's Day. I love my 365 days, but at least she got her birthday, she got Mother's Day, you got to celebrate Black achievement as much as possible. We got to highlight it. So that's what Juneteenth is to me. It's not a separation. It is a elevation of what needs to be celebrated.
So was it a day that America came to their senses and said, you know what, this is wrong? Or was that was still about money?
No, I think that was a day where America finally got to the country. Because again, all these other states were already freed. It wasn't until they finally got to Texas to say, hey, this is the last spot. So at that point, correct, for the South. So at that point, now all of America, mind you, there are still people to this day who still don't know that we free. There was a doc on that.
That's a whole
really?
Yes, to this day, because of that mindset that people put them in. They go from generation to generation only knowing what they know. So again, it's really up to us to be a part of the process, to share the information, and to do what's due. At this point, it's due. You got to say not just, hey, let's celebrate, but now that you know that you're wrong, you need to stop staying wrong and start getting
and start doing something about being wrong. Correcting the past.
Correct.
Absolutely. So I will say that the acknowledgement and making it a federal holiday, I'm hopeful that is a step to atonement. I really am. I really am hopeful that is a step to atonement and not just something so we can go somewhere and sit down and shut up.
But again, that's something that has to be talked about as a unified front, because there's still a lot of Black folks who are like, oh, we had enough. We made it. Listen,
not quite there yet. We're still on the street.
You got people who are, I'm not gonna name no names, but famous folks who made it on their, their show following, Uncle Ruckus. And they feel like everybody else, you just need to figure it out. No, there's no figuring out. You got to pay the debt. It's on the books. It's like the taxes. You say you owe me. Again, Ms. V, I understand you got to pay your due, but you didn't pay your due first. You didn't pay your due, but you want me to pay you. How does that make sense?
Yeah.
We all got to get on the same street.
We all got to get on the same street.
Pay me, then we pay you. That's how it should work. But it don't work that way. You got to do your part.
All right. So listen, we have had this wonderful appetizer and dessert and meal. So now it's time for the dessert. So here's my big announcement. Kitchen Talk is having a summer subscriber campaign. And so what it is let me see if I can pull up my flyer. Jamal in here for me today.
My man.
I know, right? All right, here we are. All right. Summer subscriber campaign. We are choosing subscribers. We're doing a drawing on August the 12th on one of our shows. And the winners of the drawing will get a $50 gift card and a guest appearance on Kitchen Talk. But we're only pulling from our YouTube subscribers. So if you're watching us on Facebook and you're not a YouTube subscriber, you need to go and subscribe to YouTube for your chance to win the $50 and the guest appearance. So that is our summer subscriber campaign. So listen, get on, tell your friends, tell everybody. Summer subscriber campaign. We're gonna have some lucky winners. Notice it has an S on that, so it'll be more than one. $50 gift card and a guest appearance on Kitchen Talk. That is what we are doing for the summer. I'm super excited.
Are you looking for more gifts?
Oh, you want to donate a gift?
I will donate a gift.
Oh, yay!
Do I get to make it a gift of my choice?
Yes, of course. Of course.
I will donate one tax preparation value up to $300 to one of your guests.
Man.
Oh, goodness.
You just need to give that to me. Subscribe today.
Yes. Subscribe today. You got a tax prep.
What?
Yes, I love it.
Man, that is amazing.
Yay!
Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. So yes, we'll put that out as well. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. So listen, you need to follow, like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, but we are Kitchen Talk CTC on all social media platforms. But this summer subscriber campaign is only for the YouTube subscribers. So make sure you subscribe today. Do it today. Do it now. And we will do our drawing on August the 12th live. When we stream live, we're going to do our drawing then. And it is going to be a very exciting night that night. And then we'll get to meet you when you become a special guest on Kitchen Talk. So I'm super excited. Thank you, Auntie V, for hanging out with us tonight and giving us that important tax information. Thank you, friends, for always holding me down. I appreciate it. JT and Jamal, God bless y'all where y'all at. And we will continue to keep JT lifted up in our positive energy and thoughts and prayers as he during this time as well. So I'm super excited, and we're gonna see y'all here next week, Thursday, same time, 9:00, where we do Kitchen Talk CTC.
Conversations that cook.
Yes, they do, and this was a good hot one tonight. All the layers of it.
This was a good one.
All the layers of it. So thank you guys. Good night.